we've all heard people talking about just trust, just believe in the process, just trust and move, like surrender, and as somebody who's personally, like currently in the process of rebuilding her life, utilizing things like trusting and self-belief, and intuitively letting my life lead me, it's really difficult, and it is proving to be one of the most challenging things I've done. And I feel like if I'm somebody who is personally dealing with this as a challenging component of trying to change your life, like I'm sure I'm not alone. And also I feel like a lot of the videos that I listen to are a lot of people that it just feels a little out of touch in some way. Like it's people that have they've achieved, and they're talking about like this from a point of after having done things to be inspirational, which it is. But I don't feel like a lot of times we get somebody that's in the middle of it doing it with you. And that's really the energy that I wanted to bring today. So if you're in that journey too, like, hi, I'm Jessie, you're in good company. You're probably gonna like my page. So if you're not already subscribed and already following, let's just get that out of the way. I would love to have you join the community, because this is the kind of content that I'm gonna be really bringing forward so much more. And I have a lot of that leading up to this point. But we're gonna go deeper in the journey because I really do wanna take you along. It's so funny because I really am practicing what I preach here. Like, right now, making this video is not necessarily something I really wanted to do, but I want to walk you through why I'm even making this video and how it can help you start to self-trust as well, and like really believe in yourself and start to take the actions towards the life that you're more wanting. Because if you're like me, chances are maybe you've tried a lot of different things, or like you've started and stopped a lot, you're like, you have this momentum, this excitement, and then you can't figure out why you can't stick with it. Or you just feel like nothing holds your attention long enough for you to just like really go all in. Or the biggest one is you feel so capable of so many things, and you have a lot of gifts and talents, you're really multi-passionate, and you have so many things coming in that it's like, what do you choose? Like the amount of times I have done like a popcorn prayer to God is about being like, just tell me what is one thing you want me to do, what is one thing that you want my life to have me move towards, and then if I could just nurture that, that would get me where I want to go. Like the amount of times I have thought that over the years. Like if you don't know my story, and I've shared it in a few other videos, but basically 5 years ago, I left corporate. It's like 5.5 years now. I was working at Amazon, and it was one of those things where it was like classic on paper. It looked like my life was so together, and it looked like I had it all, and I just was deeply, deeply unhappy. And as I'm studying astrology more and more, I'm learning that, it makes so much sense why that wasn't gonna work. Like that normal, like muggle path was not ever gonna work for me. So it makes sense that I like kind of fuck shit up. But like, it's been a 5.5 year journey of just being like, trying to find pieces, trying to figure it out, trying to trust, you know what I mean? Like trying to deeply trust the steps you're getting in front of you. And I feel like instead of it turning into one big thing, quote unquote, not that it has to be one thing, but like, I just imagined there would be something I was going towards. I really struggled to feel like, it's all leading towards something. And the more I've gone down this journey and am just like realizing that nothing changes unless nothing changes, and the thing that had to change for me to really feel like things are starting to shift, and that I actually can believe in the process, and I can believe life is happening for me, and I can believe that the steps that are being that are laid out in front of me are actually worth my time and are going to be productive and go towards something, is I had to just pause and accept where I am. And like that makes me so emotional, because that's been the hardest thing. That's been the hardest thing for me to do. And if you are like me, like you get that, because when your life is not where you want it to be, or you've experienced quote unquote success and you decided to follow your heart, and it's like, I just want to get back there, but better, like I want it to feel aligned, and then it's like, how come I can't have both? And there's all these beliefs that you just face. It's a lot, and so it can feel impossible to just accept where you are. But like truthfully, that is the work that I have been playing in and sitting in and facing, and which has allowed actually some cool stuff to happen. So I'm going to do my best to make this make sense. So just follow along with me. I'm going to trust that you get it, because again, if you're connecting with this content, I'm just going to guess that your brain has a brain too, and you're just like, you're just in all these places as well. So to back up for a second, like I said at the beginning, I didn't necessarily want to make this video right now. What happened is earlier this week, I got this inspiration, and this is what I'm trying to follow more and more of, is I got this inspiration to write out like the version of me like that I want to be. And it's interesting because I've never really like vibed with the Cardone content, but for some reason, like I've just been having this solar plexus glow up, and I've been really drawn to Elena Cardone content. And she said something that everybody recommends to do, but the way she said it, it was just like the divine right timing for me to hear that. And I listened. And it was basically like, write out your goals. Like, get actually clear on your goals. And the amount of times I have written out my goals is like, it's a bajillion, you know? And I'm like, but I realized I wasn't actually really for sure, and I don't even know if those are, or decided, and I don't even really know if those were really my goals. And so I just, earlier this week, I sat down, pen to paper, and I was like, for real, Jessie, like, what are your goals? Like, what do you want? And when I did that, it actually simplified so much. It was literally like 4 things. It's like, I just want to feel like I look really, really good in my body. And it's not for like ego reasons. It's just, I have felt so average in my body for so long. Like, I finally healed a bunch of stuff, so I'm healthy. Like, I'm finally optimally healthy, but I have never just felt like uber confident in myself. And so it was more of just like, I wonder what would happen if I stopped kind of going against myself, or like self-sabotaging with some things, you know, or like blaming my period. You know, I was sitting there at the gym the other day, and I was like, you know, I'm sitting here looking at myself in the mirror, like picking myself apart. And there's another girl in the mirror, and she's sitting there using her phone and taking a bunch of selfies because she feels so good in her body and she's so proud of herself. Now, I don't know actually what's going on in her mind. She could be picking at herself too. But outwardly, that's what I was seeing. And I was just like, I've just never felt like that girl at the gym. And I was like, I wonder what would happen if I started to like just go all in on my body and get the fittest and healthiest I've ever been. And so that was one. And another one was like financial freedom. You know, this is something I've been going towards, but I realized I was always doing it with like a mask on. I would never admit that to myself. And to me, financial freedom doesn't mean like I don't have to work. It means that I just have an abundance of money coming in consistently, doing the things I love, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. You know, it's like, it doesn't have to be this like, oh my God, I make millions of dollars. It's just like consistent, good income coming in, you know, and I don't have to worry anymore. And I can just breathe and be myself and live, you know. And then it was just like true like love in my relationship. You know, my there's a lot that I could probably share about my current you know, partner and everything. We've been together for 4 years, and we actually like we just broke up, and then we did this whole like rebirthing ceremony where we decided to like come back together, and like basically we were like, okay, death to the old relationship, who are we committing to being now, and what do we want moving forward? And so actually he went and like traveled the world this last month, and then I've just been doing this deeper work within myself, expecting that he's doing the same while he travels. But basically, like, one of my goals was just like, I just want true love. You know, I've been in and out of so many relationships, and it's like, you know, I'm 34, and it's not that I'm old. I'm just like, you know, I do want to start having kids, and I want my fairy tale. And it doesn't have to look Instagram worthy. I don't even know that I want like a big wedding or anything. I don't even know that I need anything to go on social media for it. I just want that deep love story, you know? And then I think the next one was just like to feel so on purpose in my work. Because when you're somebody who's really multi-passionate, if you're listening to this and you're feeling this, please like comment below. Actually, I would love to know like, what are your passions? What are the things that you love to do? And please list all of them, because I am somebody who I'm deeply passionate about so many things as well. If you go to my website, you can see I have quite a bunch of offers, because I was like, I don't want to have to choose. Like, I love organizing and design. There's a reason I got certified in it. Like, I love being a life coach. There's a reason I got certified in it. Like, I love astrology. There's a reason that like I want to bring that into my coaching, because I feel like that is ultimate truth and your ultimate design and will help so much make sense to you. I've made courses. There's a reason I have a course available. There's so many things. And I love dance and pole dance and newly Pilates and all these things. So I just, yeah, it's like when you're so multi-passionate, it can feel sometimes so hard to feel like you're on purpose, or that the way that you spend your time in all these little areas, like it feels like, oh my gosh, am I spending enough time on these things that I love to like nurture them enough, you know? And so there's just like all these mindset things I've been working through and everything. And so, so yeah, I mean, my goals are really simple, It's not like, you know, this car, and not saying that those are bad, you know, but like this time around, it was much less material and more about how I want to feel, and how I want to feel on like a few specific categories. And then so to take it back to the Elena Cardone content I was watching, you know, she was like, so then once you're very clear on what you want, all you have to do is reverse engineer those goals. And so she's like, you know, you don't even have to worry about the how or when all of these things are going to come in. You just have to get really clear on what you want, and then have an idea or look it up or research people who have what you want, and think about, okay, so what do they do on a consistent basis to experience those things, you know, coming online for them in their life, like actually being tangible. I was like, okay, so I'm just going to write out these goals and give myself the best guess of what I would do to achieve these things by just being consistent in the actions to get there. You know, what would that reverse engineering look like for these things? And so far, they're fairly simple. What these have led me to is just a little bit of research, you know, realizing like I don't have to figure out all these on my own, but also for the most part, when I stopped just like lying to myself and I just sat with what was and what is, I realize I do have a lot of the answers on this. It's just a matter of being consistent. Sometimes we don't need a bunch of new information. You just need to do what you know works. Because the truth is, if you do things enough times, if you do the right things enough time and you're consistent with them, like 100 times out of 100 times, like it's going to move you forward, and it's going to get you either where you want to go or somewhere even better than that. So you can't go wrong. So what I decided this week, I was like, okay, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna do the things. And so to a couple of those things, oh my god, and this is where I'm like, okay, maybe you don't have to go to 0 to 100 like I have done so far. And this is where I'm like, okay, I'm always learning balance in my life. Isn't that the truth? Like, we're always learning balance or harmony. Maybe balance is not possible, but like some form of harmony, like working with ourselves and not overdoing it. So yeah, I wrote out all, because the thing is, we want to sustain. You don't want to just like crash out to hit your goals and burn out to hit your goals. You know, like I have done so many times in the past, which I think is why it made it really hard for me to stay consistent and show up. And, you know, again and again and again over time, the last 5.5 years on social media, for example. So yeah, so this week I'm like quickly learning, okay, just give yourself a second to, you know, make all of this happen as a consistent new way of being. But basically, I decided that to hit my fitness goal, for example, I looked up my body type, because I know that there's a few different types of bodies out there, right? We're not all the same. And because of that, depending on your body type, like you're going to require a different level of, you know, types of food or types of workouts that are going to just work best for your body, for whatever you want it to look like. So in that video, she was talking about Pilates. And it's interesting because life gives us signs. You know, the amount of times I have had Pilates randomly come in my head over this year, and I just avoided it because I did a Pilates class years ago and it was so hard. And I was like, and I'm somebody who, like, I work out, you know, and I have always, no matter how much I like had a little extra weight on me, like I always worked out. But I did that Pilates class and I was like, I don't know if that's for me, like that's so hard. And so I really just like push it aside. And then when I wrote out these goals and then I looked up that video and then it was like, do Pilates, I was like, Dang. Okay. So I did a Pilates class yesterday, and then actually I just got done with the Pilates class, like, I don't know, like an hour ago. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm really sore, like embarrassingly sore, but I'm also at the same time like trying to nurture myself and remind myself, like, I love myself, I'm proud of myself, like, don't beat yourself up. So like anybody would be sore if they've never done Pilates in like years, and then they do 2 classes back to back. Like, these are not easy classes. So anyway, so I got back from that, and the reason I share all that is because another goal I had was, feeling on purpose with my dreams, right? And in order for your dreams to happen, like, you gotta just start taking steps towards them. And I know that, and I have known that, and I have battled that. And I finally just surrendered, and I was like, I literally feel like life keeps telling me to show up consistently on YouTube. Like, it's been the thing that it's not that I haven't enjoyed it. It's funny because every time I come on to make a video, I enjoy it. Like, I'm having fun right now. I just feel like myself. I don't even have makeup on, but I just been making it bigger in my head, because if you notice my first videos, they were really over edited. Like, I really thought the whole goal was just keep everybody's attention, like play music the whole time, and I got the levels of my music totally wrong, and have these little pop-ups all the time, and like blah, just be in everybody's face to like hold attention. But I was thinking, when I watch videos of other people, I am not caring at all about their pop-ups. If anything, if I'm into what they're saying, I don't care about that stuff, and I actually kind of want it to go away because I'm just focused on what they're saying. Like, so I thought, what if I just approach this time so much lighter, and I just show up when I feel the inspiration to? And it's not always convenient. I literally was on my walk. If you live in Miami, it's hot AF. And I'm like getting out of this class, I'm sweating, and because it's my second day of Pilates in a row, and I just didn't sleep that good the last couple nights. I've been feeling a little bit off, and I honestly just wanted to come home and just relax, maybe journal a little bit and just relax and just kind of retreat into my Cancer South node and just be. And then the inspiration was just like, show up. You don't have to make it a whole thing, just show up. And I was like, wow, this is so inconvenient and so not part of what I wanted to do today, but at the same time, like, I'm really glad I'm doing this right now, because another component that I was not thinking when it comes to self-trust and living an intuitively led life and honoring yourself, is that if you ever do inner child work, if you ever connect with your inner child, now I know that feels a lot like oversaid. It feels like people are overusing that or just like ignoring it completely. It's just not everybody's favorite topic. At least it wasn't mine. But I'm realizing that our inner child is so crucial to us living the most empowered life that we could ever live. And so when I tuned into my inner child a little bit last night and this morning, she was really sad. She was like terrified. I was doing this chakra meditation, and when I got to the root, when I got to the sacral, she was literally just out of nowhere being like, don't make me do it, I'm so afraid. And I could just see her curled up in a ball, just crying and just so sad. And I was like, how come she keeps going to this place? How come I'll check in with her and sometimes she'll be really great and happy, and other times she'll be terrified? And I had a realization about inner child work, because I was thinking the whole time inner child work's about like consoling your inner child and getting her to be happy and like parenting, the little you. But I didn't think about the side of parenting, and maybe it's because I'm not a parent yet, is that you have to lead by example. This was the biggest aha moment for me. I realized, and this makes me emotional, it's like, in order for your inner child to feel safe, your inner child cannot be the one that has to like go first, almost. It's like I'm viewing the inner child as a byproduct of how you're showing up in your life. And really, when we connect with our inner child, it's like a check-in to see like, okay, how are we feeling? How are we actually doing internally inside? And when I had this aha moment, I realized, oh my God, I'm perpetuating her sadness. Every time I check in and she's sad, because it feels like her being happy is so, it's like a fluke. Like it's just like, I never know when she's gonna be feeling happy. But when I reflect on it, I'm like, oh, she's usually doing pretty good when I've showed up for myself. And I realized I was not leading by the example for my inner child to show her that we do believe in ourselves, that we can trust ourselves, that we do take action. And the action doesn't have to be profound and life-changing and big. It's oftentimes little steps like showing up for the video that you feel like your spirit is asking you to do. It can feel like making a payment towards your debt and not ignoring it anymore. That's another part of my process. Not that I've been ignoring my debt, but it has been weighing on me because somehow there's still some lingering, and I'm like, I'm just gonna pay it off. Like, I just need to make it happen. And so it's just like just doing something small, but like an action towards the thing that you say you want, because this is what's so cool about when you tap into spirit and connect with God and just like the divine, is you realize you don't have to do it all yourself. And you can talk to God and angels and your guides like they are your friends. You can just, like they're people in front of you. You can just talk to them and ask them for guidance and help you to solve things. You just have to have the specific questions that you're asking for them to do it. Something that the Reiki master that I'm working with, she had let me know that, and the angels, for example, are jobless until you ask them to help you with something. And she was like, you're on this path right now where now you're ready to start bringing them in and working with you. And so it's been the most empowering thing because I don't feel alone anymore. Like, I don't feel like everything has to be an uphill battle. And now when things do start to feel like an uphill battle, that's my cue to be like, have I brought anything divine in to support me? Because it's waiting to support me. Working with yourself on trusting the process, believing in yourself, like it truly is a muscle that you build, but you build that muscle through the relationship that you nurture with yourself, through your inner child, through your connection to the divine, through walking every day knowing that you're not alone. And honestly, meditation is something that, again, it's kind of like inner child. Like, people don't love talking about it, but I used to meditate and just be like, this feels boring, or like I'm doing it because I know I'm supposed to do it. But what I did not think about is that when you meditate, you're not just clearing your mind and getting clarity, like as if that wasn't enough, because that's powerful. But what you're doing is you're grounding yourself, your higher self, into your human vessel. And that is what people are talking about when they're talking about manifesting and bringing all the things that you want in your world. You have to ground things in, you have to ground your energy into you so that you have this strong structure. When you have this strong structure, that is when the things that you want can come in. And so what I've been also doing is practicing not only mindfulness and presence as I'm just going about my day, working on my posture a little bit more, just like being present in my moment, slowing down enough to catch my moment, but also making meditation at the beginning of my day non-negotiable. I don't do less than 20 minutes anymore. And I know that sounds a little intense, and you could do guided or whatever, but I asked the angels to come in and support me, specifically Archangel Sandalphon. Look it up. Look up that angel. Is pretty incredible. What I do is I say, Archangel Sandalphon, thank you for connecting me to the hollow earth, which is like this divine, like Garden of Eden type of thing supposedly at the core of our earth. But it's a very, I just noticed when I ask that and then I immediately get into a meditation, I feel like a weighted blanket has been put on me. I feel so calm. I feel so good. And then what happens is that it allows my heart to open. It's like a flower. Your heart is like a flower that opens when it feels safe to, when it's being nurtured. And I didn't realize that part of that nurturing was the grounding into yourself, grounding into your vessel. And then when you do that, things can come in, and that's what creates that sense of safety. But if you're just like avoiding these things, like not meditating because you're like, I don't have time for it, you're not seeing it as something that will actually make the rest of your day flow how you want it to, simply because you're more anchored into yourself, not going to be as reactive to things, not going to be as stressed. You're going to be more positive, more able to be full of gratitude and grateful and see the cup half full, right? There's so many reasons like that I have been really down in my life lately. Like, I mean, I could list them off, you know. I'm 34 and there's some things that I've had to really accept and be like, hey, it doesn't have to be embarrassing. What if all of this is just setting me up for my future and it's going to be so much better because, and what if actually I could choose to see 34 as still young? I could still choose to see myself as like, you know, like, I mean, I'm not a spring chicken, you know, I'm not 24, but like, hey, you know, I'm not 44, and even if I was, it's like we're still so young, you know, and so just letting myself off the hook. Let yourself off the hook, you know, like the reason I'm 34 and kind of feeling like this is because I left corporate because I couldn't stand it, and I went for my dreams. I went all in on my dreams. I was literally the person who was listening to all the mindset, you know, gurus like the Tony Robbins stuff, and eventually, funny story, ended up working for him and Dean Graziosi 3 years into this journey. So that was a whole journey on its own. If you want to know that story, I will share it. But yeah, I was a person who left corporate and had been listening to all the advice that was saying, if you have a plan B, you don't have a plan A, like you got to go all in. And so I was like, I'm going all in. And I like left with like, I mean, I had savings at the time because I'd been in corporate for like 8 years and I was really nerdy good about saving and my 401k and all these things. But I did all the irresponsible things. I took all of that out. I sold everything I owned. I moved across the country. I started my business, but like I didn't have a plan. I had not enough. I didn't have evidence for a few months that the thing I was building and wanting to move towards like could sustain me, could replace my paycheck. Like I didn't have any of that. I just decided to go all for it because I hated where I was at currently. And then I just started hiring coaches. I just worked with coach after coach after coach after coach. Like I went into so much debt hiring coaches and things because I was just like, I need this. Like I was so instant gratification. I was like, my business has to work now. Like I need to make this happen. And it's all been a blessing, right? Like that's one thing I'm really proud of myself. Not everybody's willing to take the risk like I did and just go all out and like believe in themselves in that way. But it's hard when you're 5 years in and you're like, well, I don't know if any of that really went the direction I thought it was going to go. And I'm kind of sitting here like, well, what do I want? And having to ask I feel like life forced me to just pause to ask these questions and answer them for real. I finally let go of all the outside input from coaches and mentors. Not that I don't believe in them, but I feel like I was really given the divine ask to just pause and get really quiet. And I will tell you, for a good 6 months, and I've talked about this in another episode that was called The Dark Night of the Soul, where there was a good 6+ months where I wasn't getting any insight. I had no insights coming in. I was just told to stop everything, blank slate my life, like let go of everything. And it was a void. It was a painful void. And I remember, funny enough, because life is funny this way, the reason I for sure knew I was in the void, getting no answers, and it's kind of what gave me hope, is I would see weirdly signs that said the word void everywhere. Now, I live in Miami and I go to Wynwood all the time, has a lot of graffiti, but I've just never seen graffiti that said the word void all the time. It's almost laughable because I felt like life was being like, listen, just be where you are. We're gonna get to you. Like there's a plan for you, but just relax. And so that's part of trusting too, is allowing yourself to accept where you are so you can slow down and you can ground and you can actually pick up the signs. Because something I really believe is life is always talking to us. Life is always giving us insights, clues, because when you come into your life, you're given a blueprint. That's your astrology chart, for example. That's the oldest science in the world, is astrology. And you're given this astrology blueprint, basically. So if you want to make your void less chaotic, start studying your chart, which I can't even believe I didn't really start taking astrology seriously until this year. So I would love to dive into your chart a little bit with you if you want to do a session. I just think life is giving us clues all the time, and it's all I just think a lot of it is pre-planned, and the more that we can just trust and move, right? Even though things are pre-planned, I do think that in order for things to come in, like we do got to start taking some action. It doesn't have to be crazy intense action, but you do have to, make some moves. You have to hear the nudges of your heart and lean in, you know. You don't even have to know where it's taking you. That's one thing I'm doing right now, is kind of this trust fall with YouTube. I'm like, I feel like life is asking me to be on here and to connect with you and to share these messages and help lift others out as well, because we're all one big collective. We're all going through awakening in our own ways, and it's hard to do alone. And I have felt alone so much, so I just feel like I just want to, I'm feeling called to connect. And that's something that I'm not always the best at in my own life, is reaching out or connecting with people, because when I'm going through it, you know, I just like to I like to just be in it with myself, because then I'm like, okay, let me just work through this and then I'll bring myself to the world. But I think there is power in authenticity, in the sense of sharing your heart as you're moving through things and as you're feeling things and as you're processing sometimes. There is, you know, honoring your integration, in having your sacred space is important too. But I just feel like I've just been in my sacred bubble for over a year, and it's like, okay, at some point we have to step out of the bubble, because things don't change if things don't change. And this is me with a little bit of that change. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope that you can see playing with this idea of trusting the steps, trusting the process, letting go of needing the answers, accepting where you are, seeing the magic of life, like through the signs, through the synchronicities. Like, just keep in mind, not everybody can see those little signs. So if you see them, they are for you. Get excited. You know, I actually had a really funny, I'll cap it at this. I had a really, really funny experience months ago. This was like last year sometime. I was leaving a yoga class, I think, and I was just feeling really down because I like couldn't figure out my purpose, because I got certified in yoga. I had been doing yoga for like 17 plus years, and I was like, I'm gonna get certified. Maybe my path is this. And anyways, I was leaving the class and I was feeling down, because I was like, I just know this isn't my path. Like, but what is it? And I was just like, just in a place. And anyways, life was just like turning my head. I turned my head and I made direct eye contact with the Smoothie King place. And I remember being like, well, I just chugged a bunch of water. I have lunch at home. Like, I don't need a smoothie, you know, like, why? But I felt like life was just like, go to the Smoothie King. And I was like, hey, it's inconvenient, because like, I'm not even, that means I have to walk up the block, go across the crosswalk, and then go back a block just to go to the Smoothie King. And I'm like, I don't even want a smoothie, but like, I usually always do. So I was like, this is just so funny. So anyway, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to be obedient and I'm going to go to the Smoothie King. And I go there, and instantly I know why I'm there. And that is because the song that was blasting in the Smoothie King said, who sings it? There's this DJ, you'll know it. It was like, I want you to be happier. I want you to be happier. And I'll go. You know that song? What is that song? But it basically just says that a million times. Like, I want you to be happier. And I cracked up laughing to the point where I almost started crying, because I was like, there's no logical explanation for why I was just sent here. Didn't even want a smoothie. And then that song was blasting. I start crying, laughing. And then I look at the girl working there who looks miserable, like she hates her job. And I was like, well, I guess I could be working at a Smoothie King and hating my life, but I'm not her. So it was like some perspective. And then I was like, fuck it, I'll get a smoothie. And so I ended up getting one. It was really good. And then the rest of my walk was just like, I was floating on a little cloud. Because it's just, you know, it's like I just needed that reminder that I'm not alone. And I just want you to know you're not alone either. And if life randomly wants to send you on a little side quest like that, just go. Just say yes, because you don't know what gift it's going to have for you, as goofy as it might be.